symptoms that a toxic relationship can have on your health. Hi, I'm Sophia from Wellbeing, and as an emotional and behavioural coach, I help those that have been or are still in difficult relationships, be they narcissistic, toxic, work or personal, as it isn't okay to be subjected to such behaviours. These situations are frustrating, confusing and hurtful. They're damaging to our identity, our self-esteem, and in the long term, if they persist without anything changing, they're damaging to our health. Today, I want to show you how being in a toxic relationship has actual physical consequences. So if you are minimizing how badly you're being treated or feeling like it just needs to be tolerated, then let me help make this concrete for you. If you like what I have to say, please subscribe, press the like button and share. You just might help someone else today. The first symptom I would like to discuss is weight, and this can be extreme weight loss or gain. We often end up in really long-term relationships and the changes to our body are slow and subtle to the extent that we make excuses as to why they occurred. But the stress is real, and unconsciously, if we don't have healthy coping strategies, we will go in search of unhealthy ones. This is done to help alleviate stress, anxiety and pain. Our mind will always search for the best way to protect us. If it doesn't have a healthy way and knows that the stress is overwhelming, then it's going to find something to help make it less. Some people will go to the doctors and have pills prescribed, and there's no judgment there. In fact, if that's your only way to feel that you can go on each day, then these chemical adjustments just could save your life. Some of these pills, though, come with an increase in appetite, or they lower our inhibitions to food choices so that more unhealthy foods get eaten. Other people will turn to the relief found in food, such as chocolate or alcohol. Maybe they were happier memories that in those days and they associate with them. They associate with, big meals being a happy time, or maybe it's a distraction. So slowly and surely weight can increase and emotional unhappiness can increase as well as dress size goes up, and it potentially represents what's happening to our body. With an increase in weight can come many other diseases and complications as a secondary effect. Now, I've done a lot of vlogs on weight loss, and there are real tips there if you find that perhaps this is one of the symptoms that you've experienced. Weight can also be affected the other way. Some people become so stressed that they're unable to eat. Their digestive system feels like it just closes down and food feels unappealing, or that it just gets stuck in the throat. Or they choose to keep busy instead of eating a healthy meal as a coping strategy. These people can look really gaunt, their immunity drops, they have insufficient nutrients, and they run the real risk of bone weaknesses, malnutrition, and even worse, stress symptoms. Another physical symptom of a toxic relationship is how it can affect our neurology. Over a long time, and with stress being so prolific, you can end up with CPSD. Now, I'll discuss this at another time in more detail, as this one is quite complicated and it's ongoing. And people with CPSD really do need special help. The CPSD is for chronic post-traumatic stress disorder. This is when the nervous system has been exposed to stress and abuse and absorbed this trauma to the extent that it just keeps building up. So unlike the standard PTSD, it may not be a sudden trauma that has triggered these reactions, but rather years of abuse, neglect, abandonment and gaslighting, just to name a few types. These people will be extra jumpy as their nervous system has been on high alert for potentially years. They can be highly emotional, responding unexpectedly to events that others may have thought were really not that overwhelming. And should something unexpected occur, they may have an inability to cope with it at all. Symptoms like anxiety and depression can be common, and professional help is really recommended. If you experience CPSD symptoms, there are tools out there, and if you can find support with friends and family and have a safe place to be yourself, that can help. A third physical symptom of toxic abuse is the inability to sleep. Sleep may be broken, or there can be difficulty in falling to sleep. And with hormones leveled, it can be a challenge to even rest at all. Adrenaline and cortisol levels can be high, and if eating, be it over or under, can affect sleep and glucose levels. Our body is an amazing self-healing unit, but it responds to stress in many different ways. and then how we unconsciously, emotionally interpret it can determine how our biology responds. For this symptom, it's important to physically start to exercise and move more. And this has two follow-on effects to help make you feel more tired, but it helps produce the good hormones, the endorphins, to help calm you down. If the exercise is enjoyable, so much the better. This is different to frantic running around, as mentioned previously. It's far more enjoyable and it actually has long-term physical benefits. A fourth sign is a foggy memory. Now, I've known people that have literally thought they were getting older and losing their memory or intellectual talents that they may have had in the past. I myself can now recall thinking that I was just getting vague and forgetful. I wasn't able to focus on goals and plans for the future and could not remember details from the past. This is another way that the long-term stress can affect you. The upside of the symptom is that as the stress is reduced, our mental capacity usually comes back. And now that you're aware of it, you can catch those inner thoughts that may say things like, wow, you're really losing it, and any other sort of negativity or self-depreciating thoughts. Thoughts like, well, what could I do now for work? I'm clearly not as sharp as I was, or who would want me because I have no interest? None of these are helpful, but catching them and changing them as soon as they crop up can alter how you continue forward. The fifth and final symptom for today, but this is not the last one in an endless sort or anything, is muscle aches and pains and chronic fatigue. Now, I've put these together as they can be seen at the same time. Everything becomes so overwhelming that the body's response is to chemically change to the extent that joints ache, muscles feel sore and stiff, and you can experience chronic fatigue and a real incapacity to move or desire to do anything. I've put this last as many of the other symptoms like foggy memory or difficulty in concentrating or loss of inability to sleep can fit in here too. There may be headaches and dizziness and even flu-like symptoms. This often takes people in search of other diagnoses, and chronic fatigue is then diagnosed only when all those other things have been ruled out. It is important to rule out any underlying problems that can occur. More and more research is being done to the effects of long-term stress on the body and how it can be reversed. But taking time to calibrate what you are actually feeling is important, to understand how your relationship is affecting you, and then to make some changes. For example, if weight gain is the issue, please see my full series of tools to help you change. If it's sleep and muscle weakness, exercise will help. A healthy diet can help correct some hormonal imbalances, and certain nutrients and vitamins and minerals can help with stress. The most important thing, though, is to try to find time for yourself. Find time to be quiet, possibly meditate, or do something you enjoy. Find someone to laugh with. There is much talk of mindfulness, and this is easier said than done, to a racing mind that has thrown the body out of whack. So find out what this looks like for you. It may not be meditating yet. It may be running. It may be a particular sport, dancing. I personally find martial art to be a healthy way to distract the mind, move the body, and build muscle strength. But whatever it is for you, it's well worth searching, as even that distraction can help. Until next time, please take some time for you. And I would love it if you'd share what did work for you to help alleviate your symptoms, because they just might help someone else today. Please subscribe and share, and I'm sending you much love.